welcome to Interior Elegance. Come on in and let me show you around. Well, we're here. This is my front office. And I just love it. I really feel that it's very important that my decorators have a visual of what I really do in my workroom. Like example, all the different widths that I normally use. One width, a width and a half, two widths. And I actually like to show them exactly what the linings that I love to use. If it's Apollo, Napsateen, Belanote with interline, line and interline, they can come in, they feel them, they touch them, they can see the difference. They have a visual of what the different types of pleats that we have available. But with that, I think that one of the most important things is that they really have an exact visual of something that can be done and shown in their homes or in their whatever place they choose. A lot of my decorators will come in and they say, oh, a width and a half is plenty. And when I tell them that this panel is made with two widths, they're really surprised. So this visual of what the panel width is all about is wonderful. I can't emphasize enough of how important visual is. Now, after they come in through the office, through the main office, they come in into my little tiny kitchen. And again, I still have a visual. I have a visual of what the standard pleats are, and then I have a little tidbit of what the trend is all about. I have things like, check me out, I'm cordless. You know, anything visual, anything that they can see or touch and see what it's all about. I work 2 weeks at a time. 2 weeks at a time, and it's fabulous. These are they're red because these are the jobs that I have to be working on. Yellow, 2 weeks after, which makes it 4 weeks into the job. And after that, that's what follows. Okay, continuing with the visuals. I guess I love the visuals. See samples of everything that we can think of as far as showing the decorator a finished product. Whether it's bullion trim, cording, brush French, anything. Anywhere from miters, some of them may not know. Do you want them set in? Do you want them out? Do you want them puffy? All types of flanges. What about all types of sizes of your cording? Naturally, you're only going to show them whatever you want to sell. It's all about shades. This is all my display of all the different shades that I provide to my clients. And again, decorators come in, they have samples, and I also have samples of ripple folds, all the different fullness of ripple folds up here. Why? Because I want them to see what I can provide for them, and that fullness does matter. My track, oh my God, what would I do without it? It's just awesome. It's motorized. I could measure, with my handy stick, I could just measure my height, and this is my board to sample everything, all my hardware. I actually have just a universal track for my pinch pleats and my draperies to test them, but I could test balances, anything that I could think of. This allows me to do it. The versatility of my stand. This is for a pole. If I have a small treatment, I just put them inside. Let's say that I have a treatment that needs to be a little wider, like doing a swag, and I need my surface to be pinnable. This is Humaso. Love it. As opposed to my motorized track stand, this is my stationary track stand for my shades. Clamps, everything is equipped. This whole room is equipped for all my shades. I have my hose, my ear lines just coming down from the ceiling. I have my iron. I have, you will see, that I have two Dufix irons. I could not afford to have another one, so this one is a homemade stand for my iron and for my glue gun and such. And this moves forward and backwards, and if you will notice, it's just a regular I-beam track. Well, this is a shade area, and I think that one of the most wonderful things that you can do to benefit on your shade making is to have all the proper supplies and to have the right equipment at all times. Starting with your table. My table is made out of Formica, okay, so that when you're working with my shades, I can move them really easy. When I need to work on a shade and I really want to have it really close to me, I have made this, temporary stand for my cording. And I just use it for my shades. I have Dufix, I have regular cord locks, I have textile, clutches, workroom supplies, everything that I need to make all my cordless, everything that I need to make all my different shades. Everything is organized by name, by draw. Well, this is where I keep all my checking fabrics for my decorators. And I usually just kind of have this little cover, just not to make it look confusing or busy or anything like that. I love that, and I put all my fabrics in these cement tubes, and I have different sizes that I can accommodate my different bolts. My valet, my workroom valets, I also keep inside those areas. I utilize every single space of my workroom. My cutters for my 3/8 rods is right underneath the table. I have a lot of other workroom valets that I hide underneath the table. My favorite other item in my workroom, my cart, my traveling cart, moves with me at all times. I have everything that I need. Every client gets a work order, and my work orders are basically just the same invoice without any prices. And I just change the word to the work order, and I attach a customer fabric and trim hardware log. This is where I apply a little swatch of all the swatches or trims or anything that comes in. I really, really love my inspection machine. It's pretty expensive, but it's worth every single penny. I love it. Okay, my sewing machines. Straight stitch, serger, walking foot, and my blind stitch. And the other side of the room, which we'll see later, I have my tacker. There is a special order in where I have placed my sewing machines because of how much I use them and the flow of the work that I do. I love to start with my straight stitch. If I have to search anything, if I have to go back to my straight stitch, I just slide everything forward. And the walking foot and then the blind stitch. So everything is in a row. Well, you will notice that in all my machines, there will be a masking tape showing the needle size and the bobbin size. And you will notice that in every single one of my machines. You know, one of those days that you're really into your sewing and everything, and what happens? Your serger, of all the machines that you have, your serger becomes on thread. And what do? You just run to find that instruction manual that you really have no idea where it is. Well, I do. My instruction manuals of all my sewing machine is with me at all times. I just have to go to iBooks, go under sewing machines. You'll notice I have all my manuals for all my sewing machines, but then I just have to click on my serger, and voila. All the threading, everything that I need to thread my sewing machine is right here on my fingertips. Isn't that cool? Well, since by now you know that my middle name is Visuals for the workroom, so these are actually mini samples that have been cut off, different projects that I have done, and when we're doing them, I don't want to go back to the book or the internet or anything that I have. I already have a little bit of a cutout of how did I do this to remind me, so that, and again, it's a shortcut of what we need to do. Anything and everything about efficiency. I used to love pins, but I love clips now. Okay, whenever I'm doing all my panels, I use all my clips only. You know how it is? It's like by the time you get to the blind stitch machine, they're either bloody or they're either you've lost all your pins. So with these clips, they're all great. I have them all in different sizes. I have them for the real delicate items or the bigger ones. And I even have them for hems. If you're doing an 8-inch hem or a 4-inch hem, I have the clips for that. I love my irons. Love them. Even so my table is very pinnable, I still use my irons as weights. Even if I have a little tiny corner that I need to place a weight, because of the shape of my iron, and I put padded, they're all padded, I could just put them there and nothing is going to move. Another item that I love in my workroom, you've noticed that I have the fabric caddy for my panels and I use them constantly. But what about when I just have lots and lots of little things, little pieces of balances or pillows and things like that? This is a lighter version of my fabric caddy and I love it. Well, as you can see already, there's a routine and something, a way that I do everything that I do on a weekly basis. One of the things that really fascinates me about keeping my workroom in order is how do I manage my remnants? Well, it's very easily for me. I have 3 shelves here. This is current, this is 2 weeks ago, and this is 3 weeks ago. So on Monday, or whenever my routine changes that I'm dealing with my remnants, I will just put the first week to the second shelf and remove the second, put it on the third, and the third goes into archive. We love space, right? So this little table hosts all my lining remnants, but it also, I have made it the same height as my main table so that when I need to extend it, I could extend it. Also, my main table, my table and table is 10 by 10. But there are times that I do quite a bit of panels, so I have added an extension so that again I could have 10 feet wide and I have 14 feet long. You know how it is, we utilize every single space that we have available. So here are my clear rulers. I have them anywhere from 2.5 all the way to 8. They're utilized in every single aspect of my workroom, whether it is for banding, whether it is for hems, whether it is for bias cording, anything that has to be measured, I will not use a tape measure. I will just use my rulers. And I have a point that, like example, this one is 3 3/4. I have a line in the center, so naturally one side of it is going to be 1 7/8, and then the other side is 1 7/8. 6-inch rulers. I have every single size to make my job a lot easier and faster. I think it's really important for me to show you or explain to you a little bit about my workflow. I do something that I learned from Minutes Matter. If you always do the same thing, always the same way, it works. And that's what I do. I have a simple chart that I use on a weekly basis. And when I come in on at the end of the week, Fridays, naturally, sometimes, most of the times I do it on Fridays, that I write down all the jobs that are due for the following 2 weeks. Okay? So jobs are done for the following 2 weeks. I sit down with my work orders, do all my calculations, remember based on the method of the panels that I have chosen. If they're not panels, if they're balances, I will do a rendering, calculations, anything that I have to do to make my chart a lot easier to work with, I do it. Right below my chart, I have what is called a supply list. Everything that I need to accomplish or to complete all these jobs are in my supply list. Whether it is pillows, boards, hardware for my shades, everything is there. Let me talk a little bit about maintenance. I know it's a big word, but just like what I do on Fridays, I take care of my sewing machines, I take care of everything in my workroom. There is a day for everything. Mondays is cutting days, Tuesdays is putting together days. I don't get tempted. I do not cut on Tuesdays. I only put things together. Wednesdays I table, Thursdays I install. On Fridays, I take care of my sewing machines and little things, okay? Remember that I work 2 weeks ahead, so I'm never in a crunch for time. But let me tell you about my maintenance. every single one of my machine has a piece of tape, okay? And that tape corresponds that whether it's your marker, your scissors, your ruler, your seam rippers, everything will have the same color, so that at the beginning of the week, you start with a whole pouch with everything that you need for that machine, to take care of that machine. On Fridays, all my machines get cleaned, they get oiled, whatever. If I only have 2 self-oilers, that they don't have to be oiled. But all the other machines, they have to be applied oil. So I do that. The serger gets vacuumed. All the other machines, all my remnants get, remember the flow that I was talking about? First week goes to the second, and the second goes to the third. They all get put into order. With my maintenance that I do, all my do-fix irons, I have their serial number and the last date that they were serviced. I kind of cover my account number a little bit, but I also have the account number so that when I call with a question, that's going to be the first thing that they're going to ask you. What is your account number? So I have it right there right there in my do-fix iron. The dates. I have my machines, the water drained and cleaned every month at the beginning of every month. And again, I don't want to remember that, so I just put a piece of masking tape and I put the date. At certain times of the year, I teach classes, so they're usually gathered all around the table, and I have the opportunity to just show them a lot of the things that I really love to use. I love my ruler. Look at this tiny little square. These are for my hems, so that I don't have to be measuring again every little single thing. As a matter of fact, my really close student, which I have mentored for the past 2 years, is here with me.
Hey Elki, how are you doing? Oh my gosh, so good to see you.
Great.
Thanks for having me.
You've been here with me for a whole week, and you're going to tell me good things or bad things about what you've learned.
I always learn so much from Elki, as far as she shows me everything, how I can operate my workroom, which is a lot smaller than Elki's, but how I can be more efficient, how I can think faster on what I'm doing, as well as producing just fabulous, fabulous window treatments. Elki is a wonderful teacher because she finds your weak points and really heartfully helps you to work on those weak points so that you can do a better job at everything. For example, this week, she discovered that my weak point was math. So what she did was made up these fantastic flashcards just so that I can test myself and get better at my calculations quicker, and then I can make more money because when I'm in a client's home, I can think fast and get my estimations done right on the spot.
One last tip about visuals, and this visual, honestly, this is my favorite. This is about fullness, okay? One with the fabric, pleats down at 3 times the fullness to about 15 inches. 2.5 times fullness, pleats down to about 20 inches. And double fullness, pleats down to about 25. And again, it's all about the visuals. If you can visualize this, a panel this width, you can just, by looking at it, you can tell, oh, that's just double fullness. Or if you see this big, you can say, oh yeah, that's a 2.5 fullness. Or 3 times fullness is this width. So, again, all with the visuals, you'll never fail.